The friend of the attractive girl, she goes and puts her hand on my leg. And I'm like, all right, this is a little uncomfortable. So I slowly move her hand away and we continue our conversation. She puts her hand again, except this time it's a little bit higher. She's getting into critical territory. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But my guy, he's like, hey, just drink.
Hi, welcome to the Black Experience Japan's Melanated Files. My name is Ranzo, and the purpose of this series is to highlight the Black people living in Japan. Who are they? We share their stories. Remember to find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at the Black Experience Japan, and subscribe to this channel for weekly videos on the Black Experience in Japan. Let's get into the interview.
My name is Deuce, for all intents and purposes. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, live in Osaka now. Oh man, so it's crazy. Originally I came to Japan in 2011. There was like this huge earthquake, right? And then I was actually gonna go study abroad in France, but I ended up coming to Japan because it was much cheaper. And then from that experience alone, like working with kids who had lost their families and then teaching English, like it really moved something in me because it's not something I saw in my own community and I wanted to study it so I could take it back home. So that's originally why I came out to Japan. Well, I've been here continuously since 2014. I am a hustler extraordinaire. So anything under the sun, you can name it, I do it or I've done it. I've had jobs anywhere from bartending, modeling. I've been an English teacher. I currently work for the Kansai Tourism Bureau, so I'm responsible for bringing people from America over here to Japan now. Also work with different influencers and Instagrammers and bloggers in order to get their names up. So in a sense, I guess you can say I do marketing. All right, well, I guess you can say I've been Black my whole life, so I'm pretty good at it. Being in Japan for me is not that much different from being in America because I've always been a minority, so now I'm just a minority within a minority. With that being said, in Japan, I don't really have a lot of issues as far as like communicating or getting things done. People pretty much treat me as they would treat any other foreigner, whether I'm Black, white, whatever. But I think I get a lot more love just because I look like this. The funniest thing that's ever happened to me being a Black man. I don't know if it's necessarily related to being Black, but there's this one time I got tricked into being a host in Japan. And for those of you who don't know what a host is, it's like somebody that like sits down with you, drinks with you, shows you a good time. Or at least that's the idea of how it goes. So I ended up meeting this one guy working at a nightclub. And he was like, hey guy, you look really cool. And I was like, oh, you know, thank you. He was like, we should hang out. And so I'm like, yeah, sure, let's hang out. So he gives me his business card and I call him the next day. He's like, hey, come over to my bar. We're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be wonderful, right? I'm like, all right, cool. Dude seems pretty legit. So I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll go over there. And then I walk into the place. It's still closed, so he's setting up. And I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. He has on a really nice suit, by the way. I'm like, oh man, that suit's really nice. He's like, you like it? I was like, yeah. He's like, you want one like this? I was like, hell yeah. And so he was like, hey, I actually got a suit in the back. How about you go put that on? And I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. But I go in the back, I put on the suit. I'm like, all right, cool. He's like, it fits good. I'm like, yeah, you know, it's a little short, but it's chill. He's like, all right, cool, man, we're gonna drink. And apparently he owns a bar. And so we get in there, we're getting ready to have a drink. And then these two girls come in, like this one really attractive girl and her friend. And so he's like, all right, cool, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna drink with them, we're gonna have a great time. I'm like, okay, cool. So we sit down, we drink, having a good time. The friend of the attractive girl, she goes and puts her hand on my leg. And I'm like, all right, this is a little uncomfortable. So I slowly move her hand away and we continue our conversation. She puts her hand again, except this time it's a little bit higher. She's getting into critical territory. And I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. But my guy, he's like, hey, just drink. And his entire atmosphere like changes, bro. And so from that, I'm like, this might be a very dangerous situation for me. I don't know if I'm being pimped right now. And so I make up this excuse like, all right, man, I really gotta go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, I'm sitting on the toilet. I'm thinking to myself, how can I get out of this situation? I still got on this man's suit, by the way. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a dash for it. So I take off the jacket. I leave the jacket in the bathroom. I still have the pants. And I had left my clothes like there. I just ran. I left. I didn't even look back. And he calls me the next day. He's like, hey, is everything okay? I was like, bro, you tried to pimp me. And he was like, I thought you wanted to be a host. And I was like, we didn't have this conversation. I thought you just wanted to have drinks. So I didn't get paid. I never got my pants back. And I still got his pants somewhere in my house. So that's my crazy Black people story. There you go. What do I like the most about Japan? I really like the opportunities that Japan allows me to do. Like, I feel like because especially I live in Osaka, I have many different experiences working with different people, and it's a lot easier to network. And so I've been able to get into all these different crazy, opportunities that a lot of people just don't necessarily get the chance to do. So I work in nightclubs, I drink for free. I get to travel around with different dignitaries because they come to Japan and I speak Japanese, and I, show them around the Kansai region of Japan. I work with different musicians and I get to go to their concerts and stuff for free. Like, I feel like if I was in America, I wouldn't have the same opportunities that are allowed to me here. So I feel like that's probably my favorite part of being in Japan, is just, being able to create these opportunities and take full advantage of them. What do I like the least? I dislike being pigeonholed. So as a black man, of course, there are certain stereotypes. Like, I have dread hair, as you can see. People tend to think, that there's just that one thing that you do. Like, people walk over to me and like, oh, are you a rapper? Are you Wiz Khalifa? Like, no, I'm not Wiz Khalifa. If I was Wiz Khalifa, I wouldn't be here talking to you. But, people just have an idea that you're supposed to be this type of way. So when people ask me, what do I do? Or they see me on the street in a suit and they're like, wow, this guy, like, you must be a foreign business person or a rapper or, something like that. And I'm like, no, I'm just a regular salary man. I work 9 to 5 and then I do other things outside of that. But ultimately, I don't like that people look at you and assume one certain thing that you have to be. My whole thing in life is like, I don't care to compare. So like, yeah, sure, I might have something in common with the people that you see on TV, but there's a lot more. There's a lot more under the surface. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Sit down, have coffee with me. We can really get into it. So kind of going back to the reason that I was out here originally, the whole difference that I find most profound is the way the community comes together. So in my neighborhood, Chicago, I grew up in a time where like people didn't really talk to each other. You don't even know your neighbors. But like here in Japan, if you're in the community, you're in the community. Like, I know my neighbor's grandmother here in Japan, but I don't know my neighbor in America at all. I've got to know so much more about all the different people and all the different, festivals and, the importance of them and how they bring family together and how they bring community together in Japan. And with this mentality, I want to take it back to America and try to do similar things. My main goal right now is I work for the Kansai Tourism Bureau, and we represent 10 prefectures. And my goal is to bring inbound tourists here to Japan. So my vision is to have 1 in every 4 visitors come from like an欧米 country, which includes like North America, Australia, and Europe. And I want to show them, the different opportunities and show them, the positive energy that Japan can provide for you and give you inspiration for your own self. My whole MO is to like help people better themselves. And so if I can do that in any way, shape, or form, I'm happy doing it. And here in Japan, that just happens what I'd be doing now. The best life advice, man. Man, I've had like so many great mentors, both in Japan and America. I don't know if there's like just any one great thing, but like, I guess the biggest thing would be, don't be afraid to fail. You will fail, you will fall. Many times. I've failed, I don't even know how many times, but like, you get knocked down to get back up, and when you get back up and you actually succeed in something, it gives you, a pride about it, because you know that you've done it with your own strength and you've done it with your own mind and your own hands. And so, yeah, don't be afraid to take a risk or a chance, just do what you gotta do. And eventually it'll work itself out. The one message I want to share with the world, okay, cool. I know it's gonna sound cheesy, but if I had to say one thing to everybody right here, right now, open your heart and open your mind. Like, don't be afraid to talk to somebody because they look different than you, or they might have a different way of thinking. Because by talking to these different kinds of people with these different types of mentalities, you get to widen your own horizon and your own view about the world at large. So like, being a black man from America, I probably would have never met anybody from Jamaica. I would have never met anybody else from like Ghana, let alone Europe, anywhere else in like South America. But being here in Japan with, the community which is here, as a foreigner, you're kind of forced together with these people. And some of my best friends today, I probably would have never been friends with them ever if I never, opened my mind and my heart to them and, listen to their stories and, exchange with them. So because of that, that's made me a much better person. And hopefully like you can do the same thing too. Just be open. My favorite Japanese food? Well, I'm Osaka, so I'm gonna say okonomiyaki. That's my favorite thing. So for those of you who don't know what okonomiyaki is, it's compared to be like a pancake, but it's not like a pancake at all. It's weird, but like, it's basically like, how can I explain? It's like a seafood pancake with like Worcestershire sauce on top and mayonnaise and seaweed. I know it sounds really bad, but it's actually really good. I'm sorry, Tokyo friends, but I feel like everybody knows Tokyo, but like nobody really knows Osaka. And I feel like there are so many hidden gems within this city and just this region at whole. So like, do your research, like look up things like Kansai specifically. And if you do that about Japan, you might be shocked. I'm a popular person, period. But in Japan, it's intensified to the nth degree. So as far as dating goes, I don't have problems. My girlfriend's probably gonna be watching this, but I don't have problems getting girls at all. They'll come up to me and they'll take me out, or I'll go over there and I'll take them out. But I am a serial dater. So for me, my dating experience in Japan is probably a lot different than a lot of other people because I'm the type that likes to have a girlfriend and, you know, kind of stay steady. So I guess in Japan, I've been here 5 years. I probably had like 7 girlfriends or so. But other numbers are higher. Oh man, if you're trying to come out here with the idea of like, I'm gonna get a Japanese girlfriend and my Japanese is gonna get so good and like my life is gonna be like an anime, shut up. It's not working like that. Like, you gotta realize that women are women wherever you go. There are certain things which you have to remember. You know, from a man's perspective and a woman's perspective, it's gonna be very different regardless. And on top of being here in Japan, there's an extra level of the language barrier. There's also the, you know, culture barrier as well. So don't come out here with certain expectations thinking that you can just like rock up and get a girl to do whatever. Like, you know, have some common sense and some common decency. Actually listen when she talks, if you can understand that is. Also, learn Japanese. If you're coming out here and you're trying to get a girlfriend, learn Japanese, man. Overall, if you want to live in Japan, one of the easiest ways is to become an English teacher. So there are certain requirements. You have to have a visa if you want to live here. If you just want to visit, just hop on a plane, come out here, experience it, talk to some different people, kind of know what you want to get into, and really speak what you want to into existence. Yeah, it's not that hard. Like, I've been out here for 5 years. So if I can do it for 5 years and I'm stupid, you can do it too. There is prejudice in Japan. But it's not the kind of prejudice that you might be used to in your own country. By me saying that, you have to realize that Japan is primarily Japanese. There aren't many people from other countries or other cultures here, and it's more or less a lack of knowledge or a lack not even wanting to care because they don't have to deal with foreign people. So you might run into some instances where, you know, it won't be the most favorable towards you. It's not because you're black, but it's more or less because you're not Japanese. So the Japanese have a saying, there's soto and there's uchi. Soto, whoa, what's up? Soto means outside and uchi means inside. And so there's kind of a wall between. I've been in Japan for 5 years and I'm still soto. I'm always gonna be outside. And I recognize that, I realize that. And I have no desire to be uchi whatsoever. I'll just be myself. And if you keep that mentality with yourself, I feel like you won't be in for as much of a shock as you think. I don't really know if it's a secret, but I'm really good to make things happen without actually doing anything. So I think just my being there makes people do stuff that they normally wouldn't do. I'm very, I wouldn't say manipulative, but I can't think of a better word right now. I'm an enabler. That's my superpower. I enable people to be their best selves. Yeah. So if you want to look for me online, I have Instagram, I have Facebook. I'm always accepting requests. If you're ever in Osaka and you want to like party or go out to nightclubs and stuff, I'm definitely one of the guys to hit up because I pretty much know everybody. So you can look at me up on Instagram by typing @DATS_boy_Deuce, or you can type my name into Facebook.
Thank you so much for watching. If you or someone you know would like to be featured, send us a message through our Facebook page or Instagram @TheBlackXJP or via our website, blackxjp.com. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.